newest of these new groups, which you may have heard of, is Moms for Liberty. And its name does sound innocuous enough. Moms, great, sounds good. Liberty, awesome. Who doesn't like liberty? Moms for Liberty. As the mom of 2 young kids, that even sounds good to me. But it's vague enough that even some of its own members are pretty unclear as to what the group is really all about, what they're a part of. Because as benign as Moms for Liberty may sound, its agenda is unmistakably extreme.
This group sounds scary. So we tracked down one of these terrorists. We're going to talk to her now. Joining me now, very scary, Scarlett Johnson. She's the chapter chair, Moms for Liberty of Wisconsin. Scarlett, what kind of terrorist training camps are you running over there at Moms for Liberty?
Oh, yeah. Well, we teach parents and grandparents, we teach them how to file open records requests, how to run for school board, and if they're successful, even if they're in the minority, how they can still be effective as a minority. We have state legislative committees where we try to work with our state representatives to advance legislation that is favorable towards parental rights and transparency in education, because we feel that parents should have a say in their kids' education, which I know it's really radical, that parents should be allowed to know what's happening in their kids' classroom and that they should be able to see the contents of the curriculum. And, you know, if a teacher decides that they're going to compel a classroom to listen to their story of how they're going to transition from one gender to another, why the parents can't even get the statement that that teacher made to elementary school kids such that they have to be sued for that information. Yeah, I don't think we're radical. I think that's called sanity.
Can you expand a little bit on this freedom of information request thing? Because a lot of people, especially people on the right, normal people, they're not political professionals the way Democrats are, the way these left-wing activists are. So they don't. This is brand new territory for them. Expand on why that's even necessary.
It's necessary because oftentimes you will find out something from your child. You'll see a book that's brought home, or you'll attend a school board meeting and you'll hear some terminology. You'll go through a school board policy. Or in the case, in what I was talking about with Eau Claire, Wisconsin, your kid will come home from school and say that their orchestra teacher is now going to change their gender. And a parent will rightfully want to know what happened in the classroom, what was said. Kids are compelled. They're compelled to be in the classroom. They are a captive audience. And it's just not fair. It's not fair for teachers or educators or administrators to use that position to indoctrinate them when they don't have the capacity to resist. Parents, that we need to be the voice of our children. You know, it is not, we always say that there should be no woke indoctrination in classrooms. Classrooms are a place for learning, not a place for activist training.
And can you explain why people? No, can you explain why people need to run for school boards, Scarlett? I love that you're passionate about this. It's something I scream about all the time on this show. We focus on the big, sexy things like presidency, right, and the lights and the news. When local, these are the battles we can win, the battles we are winning, and they're the most important battles.
During COVID, my sense of the world broke in a way that it will never recover, and that's a good thing because I learned to distinguish leaders from cowards. I didn't even know who my school board members were 3 years ago. I was just a regular mom, volunteered in the lunchroom, volunteered, on the playground, and I wasn't really paying attention. After COVID, I realized how important these local positions are, particularly school board, because when they shut down my kids' school, when they were forcing masks, when they were acting like petty dictators, I realized that this was a really important position, and we need to run, and we need to have candidates, and then we need to win these positions, and we are. You know, Moms for Liberty has 130,000 members. over 45 states. There's over 300 chapters, and these positions, school board, this is so important. Our kids' education is so vital, and these are races that we can win if we're willing to stand up and we're willing to fight for our kids and we're willing to do the right thing.
Scarlett, Wisconsin's an interesting state. I personally have had many, many good times in Wisconsin, but it's always purple. And there are parts of it like Madison that seem like they're San Francisco. And then you meet normal people from Wisconsin and you think this has got to be the reddest state in the union. What kind of a state is it now?
Wisconsin is a very unique state. It is divided. You can see ideologically a lot of times 50-50. However, when it comes to issues like what's happening with in Madison, where they just passed this county, in the county they passed something where they made the Dane County a trans sanctuary. In Madison, that is a very different area than most of Wisconsin. It is basically kind of its own little socialist-like area. And unfortunately, what had just happened was that the county had passed a resolution to become a sanctuary county for trans-identifying kids so that they could obtain surgeries and hormone blockers, and they could obtain those kinds of medicine, and they could do so without parental consent. And not one day after they had done that, there was on a very busy Saturday, there was a nudist bike ride throughout Madison, and a 10-year-old girl was riding completely nude with 150 adults.
Oh.
And yeah, that happened. And the police did nothing about it. Facebook wouldn't remove the images. They said that this was just liberating. This was just good fun. This is what happens when you let these things go too far. And this is not in keeping with the values of most Wisconsinites. For example, 71% of Wisconsinites do not believe that biological boys should be allowed to play on sports teams with biological girls. They believe that sports teams should be divided by their biological sex. And in keeping with that, there has been legislation recently introduced. It's called the Saving Women's Sports legislation, and that is something that is going to be progressing throughout in the fall. And it's something that Moms for Liberty is going to be 100% behind. And you know what? The majority of Wisconsinites and the majority of Americans agree. The left has just gone too far.
Oh, we have. Scarlett, go get them. Keep up the fight. I appreciate you.
Thank you.